Zaria Bennett was a stunning yet modest black woman who lived by her own values, one of which was preserving herself for marriage. Time and again, her boyfriends left her because she wouldn't give herself to them. But one night changed her, life forever. She gave herself to a man she didn't even know, and she never saw him again. Zaria was picked up from her apartment by her boyfriend, Jalen Moore, to celebrate their second anniversary. He told her he had a surprise planned. They pulled into the driveway of a luxury hotel in downtown East. Bridge Heights. "What are we doing here?" "I thought we were going to dinner," Zaria asked, puzzled. "Just trust me," Jalen replied with a smile, stepping out to open the car door for her. They headed to the reception desk, where Jalen retrieved a key. Zaria assumed he had arranged a surprise in their hotel suite, but when they entered the room, her excitement faded. No candles, no roses, no romance, just a standard hotel room. "Where's the surprise?" she asked. Without answering, Jalen pushed her onto the bed and climbed over her, kissing her aggressively. "Jalen, what are you doing? Stop!" she yelled, trying to push him off, but he was relentless. "Come on, Zaria. We've been together for 2 years. Don't you think it's time?" She shoved him off with all her strength. "I told you I'm not ready. If you loved me, you'd respect that. Girl, my boys clown me for being with someone who's stuck in the past. You dress like you're down, but when it's time to act like it, you back off." "Excuse me," she snapped, stunned by his disrespect. Jalen yanked at her skirt, reaching under it, but before he could go further, Zaria slapped him hard across the face. "You disgusting creep," she shouted, adjusting her clothes quickly. "We're done, Jalen, for good. I won't call the cops this time, but you better. Stay away from me." She stormed out of the hotel, holding back tears. This wasn't the first time a man had tried to take something she wasn't ready to give, but it would be the last time she let anyone disrespect her. Lost in thought and heartbreak, Zaria wandered into a bar not far from the hotel. She didn't usually drink, but tonight she wanted to forget everything. Shot after shot of tequila dulled her senses. "You've had enough, miss," said a deep voice beside her. A tall black man with smooth skin and sharp features took the seat next to her. "Who are you, my dad or something?" she slurred. "No, but I could be someone better," he replied with a calm smirk. Zaria scoffed but almost fell off the stool. The man caught her effortlessly. "You're too drunk to be out here alone. Let me take you home," he said. "I don't have any friends here," she muttered. Then, looking up at him, she said something even she didn't expect. "Take me to your place." The man blinked. "Are you sure?" "Let's go," she said. He led her upstairs, to his penthouse. The entire building belonged to him. The bar was just one of his ventures. She collapsed onto his plush bed. "Do you want anything to eat?" he asked. "What do you want from me?" she replied, eyes glazed. "I want you," he said. Zaria pulled the strap of her dress down, exposing her bra. "Well then, what are you waiting for?" She couldn't even remember his name. Couldn't see his face clearly. But when he touched her, kissed her, she didn't resist. For the first time, she felt a different kind of fire in her chest. One that scared her. One that consumed her. Even though he was gentle, it hurt. Confirming what he suspected. "You really are a virgin?" he asked, slowing his movements. Zaria nodded. He moved carefully, letting her adjust, until pain melted into an unfamiliar kind of pleasure. When it was over, he wrapped his arms around her protectively. She didn't know his name. He didn't know hers. But that night, they shared something unforgettable. The man lying beside her, who she didn't know by name, was actually Malik Richmond, a commanding, dark-skinned businessman with a sculpted jawline and presence that drew every eye in the room. But that wasn't all. Malik was the eldest son of the royal family of Sundara, a small but wealthy African kingdom. 5 years ago, he'd left that world behind, and with it the woman he once thought he'd marry. Now he lived in the States, free, rich, and hiding from the title of prince. But last night had stirred something he thought he'd buried. That morning, Zaria Bennett woke up in silk sheets alone. There was no note, No number, no goodbye. The room was quiet and cold, and her clothes were scattered across the carpet. Her head pounded, her heart felt heavier than her body. The man was gone. She picked up her things, barely holding back tears, and walked out of the penthouse with shaky legs. 2 months later, she stared at the 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test. She was pregnant. Her world turned upside down. She had no way of finding him. She didn't even know his full name, only that he lived above the bar where it happened. But when she returned to look for him, she discovered the bar had been shut down and the building sold. And just like that, her last hope vanished. Her parents were livid when she told them. They refused to believe her story. A baby? By some stranger you don't even remember? That's your explanation? Her father shouted. They were ashamed, disappointed, disgusted. They told her not to return home unless she came back with the man responsible for her pregnancy. With nowhere to go, Zaria moved in with her best friend Imani Williams, a graphic designer with her own 2-bedroom house in a suburban part of East Bridge Heights. Imani's family was wealthy, old money from the Williams Carver line. But she never judged Zaria, just opened the door, set up the guest room and said, "This baby isn't your shame, it's your blessing." Zaria took up online jobs, virtual assistants, social media gigs, copywriting, anything she could do, while pregnant to earn some money. Her savings from her former job as a flight attendant at Harlem Skies Airlines covered the hospital deposit. Saturday morning arrived. Zaria had her routine OB/GYN appointment. Normally, Imani came along, but today she had to report to her boss at Cultureway Media. "I hate leaving you alone this far into pregnancy," Imani grumbled as they sat over breakfast. "I'll be fine," Zaria assured her. "It's just a quick checkup. I'll grab a taxi, then come straight back." "I swear, Zaria, your belly's so big you can't even see your feet anymore." They laughed, but Imani's eyes held concern. "Text me as soon as you get there. You could go into labor any time now," she added seriously, placing her number on speed dial in Zaria's phone. After Imani left, Zaria washed up slowly, the weight of her stomach making every movement feel like a task. Then she hailed a cab and made her way to Dr. Maya Rollins, her OB/GYN. Dr. Rollins smiled as she moved the ultrasound wand across Zaria's belly. "Your baby girl is perfect. Her heartbeat is strong and she's in the right position. You're close." Zaria looked at the screen, tears threatening to spill. "I can't wait to meet her," she whispered. On the way home, something happened. The taxi she was in pulled to a stoplight. Suddenly she felt a cramp. A sharp, gut-wrenching wave of pain rippled through her body. Oh, God. She opened the door and staggered out, clutching her belly. A car swerved to a stop in front of her. Out jumped a tall man in a dark charcoal hoodie and designer jeans, Malik Richmond. "Miss, are you okay?" he asked, rushing toward her. I think I'm going into labor," Zaria gasped, grabbing onto him for support. She still hadn't looked up. Okay, I got you. Don't worry." Then she looked into his face and froze. So did Malik. Their eyes locked. Zaria's mouth parted in shock. "You!" And Malik's heart pounded. His world slowed. It was her, the woman he had searched for, the woman he'd shared that night with, the woman whose name he never knew. His voice came out hoarse. "It's you." But Zaria was in too much pain to process anything. "Please, just get me to the hospital," she cried. Malik rushed her to his car and hit the gas. She moaned in pain in the back seat, gripping the handle as sweat rolled down her forehead. "Where's the father of your child?" he asked suddenly, his voice tense. "I don't have one," she groaned. "Are you going to keep asking questions or drive?" His lips parted. She wasn't married. He almost smiled despite the stress. "Can I at least get your name?" he asked gently. Zaria Bennett." He gripped the steering wheel tighter, emotions flooding him. "Zaria," he repeated softly. "I'm Malik Richmond." Zaria barely noticed the name. Her contractions were too close now. When they reached the emergency entrance, a nurse ran out with a wheelchair. They began to wheel her away, but just before disappearing through the double doors, Zaria turned. "Please, don't leave me." Malik stood frozen in the hallway, stunned by the weight of her words, and he didn't leave. 2 hours passed. Malik paced the hospital hallway like a storm. Every now and then, a nurse walked by, and he'd jerk his head up, hoping for news. Then finally, one appeared with a gentle smile. "Mr. Richmond?" He straightened up. "Yes?" "Congratulations, your wife just gave birth. A healthy baby girl." Malik blinked. "Wait, I'm not—" But she was already leading him toward the nursery. Inside, another nurse approached, holding a tiny bundle, wrapped in pink. "Here she is, your daughter. Would you like to hold her?" I'm not sure," he stammered, but the baby was already in his arms. Malik looked down. She yawned. And then just for a second the baby smiled. Something clicked in his heart. He had held many things in life: money, power, success. But nothing compared to this fragile miracle in his arms. He didn't know how, or why, but he felt it deep in his soul. He wanted to protect her. 2 days later, Zaria was discharged. Imani had taken time off to help her around the house. But as they sat having breakfast that morning, the conversation turned to the man who'd helped her. "So let me get this straight," Imani said, flipping pancakes. "You randomly ran into the guy who saved you 9 months ago." "Yeah," Zaria muttered, still in disbelief. "And he's fine?" "Girl!" Imani shrieked. "So what's his name?" "Malik Richmond." "Whew, sounds expensive." Imani grinned. "Let me find out your baby daddy's secretly rich." Zaria rolled her eyes. "He paid my whole hospital bill, 50 grand. That's why I need to see him. The nurse gave me his address." Imani dropped her spatula. 50? Like 50,000? I need to return it. I don't want to owe anyone, especially not him." "Zaria, please. He clearly got money and clearly likes you. At least thank the man properly. You might have just walked into a whole blessing." Zaria smiled faintly but said nothing. Later, that day she packed up baby Amara and headed toward the address, Malik's penthouse. As her taxi pulled up to the building, she recognized the bar at the base. Her breath caught. "This is the same building," she whispered. "Where it all happened." She walked inside, heart pounding, and approached the security desk. "I'm here to see Mr. Malik Richmond." The guard nodded. "Penthouse floor, elevator to the 25th. As she rode up, she held her breath, gripping the stroller. When the doors opened, she stepped onto the marble floor and faced a grand mahogany door. The same door she'd stumbled out of that morning 9 months ago. Before she could knock, the door swung open. There he stood, shirtless, stunned. "You," she whispered. Malik froze, eyes scanning the stroller and her face. "You're the guy from that night." "You're my baby's father," Zaria blurted, the words trembling out before she could stop them. His expression softened, until she stepped forward and slapped his chest. "You're a predator. You took advantage of me when I was drunk." "Hold up," Malik said, grabbing her wrists. "You told me that night I could have you, from head to toe. Don't play like you don't remember." "I wasn't in my right mind. You should have known better. Maybe you were drunk, Zaria, but I saw it in your eyes. You knew what you wanted." "That night was a mistake," she said bitterly. "But this child isn't. Don't worry. I'm not here to ask for anything. I just came to return your money." Malik stared at the sleeping baby girl. His chest rose and fell slowly. "What if I told you I want to be her father?" Zaria's breath caught in her throat. "I'm not running from this," Malik said. "I tried to find you. After that night I woke up and had to leave for Sundara. My little brother was in a car accident and my family sent a private jet. I didn't even know your name." Zaria stared at him, speechless. "I never expected to see you again, but when I saw you that day pregnant, I felt like I was alive again." Her guard began to crumble, though she tried to hide it. Then Malik said something she didn't expect. "Let's get married." Zaria's eyes shot wide. "What? You don't even know me?" We have time to know each other. What matters now is our daughter. You're insane. I'm serious. I want my daughter to grow up with both parents, and I want to be with you." Zaria stared at him for a long moment. "I'll think about it." "No need to think," Malik replied with a cocky grin. "You're already mine." Before she could respond, he grabbed his car keys. "Let's go, I'm taking you home." But halfway through the drive, he pulled into a steakhouse. "What are we doing here?" she asked. "You need a real meal." And for some reason she didn't resist. Zaria tried to ignore the butterflies in her stomach as they sat at the quiet table. Baby Amara slept soundly beside her in the carrier. Malik ordered for both of them: ribeye steak, mashed sweet potatoes, and garlic greens. "You didn't have to bring me here," she muttered. "You needed a good meal. You just gave birth," he said, glancing at her with a hint of a smile. "Plus, I wanted to see you again. For real this time. Not in pain. Not running away." Zaria looked up from her plate. "You still barely know me, Malik." "Then tell me about yourself," he replied. She hesitated. "What do you want to know?" "Everything." She shook her head with a quiet laugh. "Why are you doing this? What do you want from me now?" Malik leaned back in his seat. "I don't know what it is, Zaria. But from the moment I saw you, even in that bar, then I haven't been the same. I tried to forget you, but you stayed in my mind like a melody I couldn't shake." Zaria paused mid-bite. "You sound like one of those fake poetry dudes online. And yet, here you are," he grinned. She rolled her eyes but smiled in spite of herself. When lunch ended, Malik paid the bill and walked her to the car. He drove her back to Imani's place and helped carry the baby carrier inside. Imani came out just in time, her eyes going wide. "You must be Malik," she said, shaking his hand. "The man who dropped 50 grand like it was lunch money," Zaria groaned. "Imani." "What? I'm just saying." Imani disappeared into the kitchen, leaving them alone at the doorway. Zaria looked up at Malik. "You really serious about what you said about marrying me?" "I meant every word," he said calmly. "Why?" "Because I want to build a family with you, not just co-parent, not just show up with a check. I want it all." Zaria opened the door, stepping inside slowly. "Then give me time," she said quietly. Malik nodded once, respectfully. "Take all the time you need. But just know, I'm not going anywhere." 1 week later, Zaria sat on the sofa, flipping through a parenting book. She hadn't heard from Malik since he dropped her off. Maybe that was his way of giving her space. Still, a part of her missed him. Then the smell of sizzling turkey bacon hit her nose. What in the world? She crept down the stairs holding a broomstick, just in case it wasn't Imani. But when she turned the corner into the kitchen, there he was, shirt off, apron on, whipping eggs in a glass bowl like he owned the place. "Boy, what the hell are you doing in my kitchen?" she barked. Malik turned around, flashing that perfect smile. "Making breakfast for my wife." She blinked. "I am not your wife." "Not yet," he winked. She lowered the broom but crossed her arms. "How did you even get in here?" "Imani let me in. She said I could surprise you." Zaria felt her cheeks heating up. His cologne was the same one from that night. She could never forget that scent. Her eyes involuntarily glanced at his chest and instantly snapped back up. Malik stepped closer, setting the spatula down. "The night you gave yourself to me, you became mine, Zaria." His hands gently cupped her face, sliding down to her jaw. She tried to pull back, but her heart was racing. "Stop calling me yours. I'm not some prize." "No. You're a gift," he murmured. "And I don't want to spend another day without you." She broke their gaze and backed away, flustered. "I haven't agreed to anything. I'm just asking you to think about it, to give me a chance." Later that day, they visited Zaria's parents. Her father, Alexander Bennett, and her mother, Grace Bennett, sat rigid in their living room. Her older brother, Terrence, was there too, arms folded, glare locked on Malik. "So you're the man who took advantage of our daughter," Alexander said coldly. Zaria flinched. "Daddy, stop." "No. Let him speak, her father interrupted. Malik stood up from the couch, then, without hesitation, got down on one knee. Everyone gasped. Sir, I'm not here to justify the past. I'm here to take full responsibility for Zaria and our child. I want to marry her, build a life, and give her the love and respect she deserves. Zaria's eyes widened. Her father was stunned into silence. Terrence broke it. Do your parents even know about this? They do, Malik replied, standing. They'll be here on the wedding day. They have royal obligations that can't be missed. Royal? Grace echoed. Alexander narrowed his eyes. You better not be joking. Malik took a breath. My parents are the king and queen of Sundara. Everyone froze. Grace gasped. Alexander blinked rapidly. Excuse me, what? I'm Prince Malik Richmond, he said. But I'm not here as a prince. I'm here as a man who wants to be a father and husband. Zaria's jaw dropped. Clutching baby Amara, she stared at the man she thought was just a stranger. Now she was hearing he was royalty. The room was silent. You could hear the clock ticking. Alexander Bennett's jaw clenched. You're telling me you're a prince? Yes, sir, Malik answered calmly. My parents rule Sundara, a small kingdom off the West African coast. But I gave that life up years ago. I've built my own name here. Grace gasped, putting a hand to her chest. Terrence's arms dropped to his sides. Even Zaria was frozen, mouth slightly open, eyes wide with disbelief. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. Because it doesn't define me. I'm not trying to impress you, Zaria. I'm trying to love you. Before anyone else could speak, Imani stepped into the living room holding baby Amara, who was just waking up from her nap. So it's true? She asked, looking at Malik. You're really a prince? Yes, he replied. But I want to live here. I want to be normal. I want to raise my daughter with her mother in a place that feels like home. Grace walked over slowly and took Amara from Imani's arms. She looked at her granddaughter, then at Zaria. She's beautiful, she whispered. And she deserves her father. Alexander sighed deeply and finally spoke. You better not hurt my daughter, Malik. If you do, title or not, I'll find you. Malik nodded respectfully. You have my word, sir. Zaria's heart was pounding. How had her life flipped so fast? 1 minute she was a heartbroken single mother. Now she was marrying into royalty. Later, when they were alone in the guest room, she sat down across from Malik. Why are you really doing this? She asked softly. Is it just because of Amara? No, he said without hesitation. It's because of you. She bit her lip, skeptical. I know we barely know each other, Malik continued. But I've never felt this drawn to anyone. And I've had time, Zaria. Time to reflect. I'm not perfect, but I know what I want. And you want me? She asked, her voice nearly cracking. He nodded. You and Amara. Forever. A pause. Zaria looked at her hands, then back at him. I need time, Malik. I still don't know if I can trust you. I'll wait, he said, standing up and walking over. He gently placed a kiss on her forehead. But just so you know, I'm already yours. 1 week later, Zaria hadn't heard from him, not a call, not a text. She tried to brush it off, telling herself it was better this way. But deep down, she missed his presence. That morning, she stayed in bed a little longer while Amara slept peacefully beside her. Then came a delicious scent floating through the air. What in the world? She grabbed a robe, slid on her slippers, and tiptoed downstairs. In the kitchen, Malik was cooking again. This time, he was dressed in gray sweats and a sleeveless black hoodie, flipping cinnamon pancakes like a pro. You really love popping up in here, don't you? She said, arms folded. Turned, eyes sparkling. Can't stay away, she smirked despite herself. You do realize this is borderline stalking, right? Imani let me in. Imani is fired. He walked up to her slowly. You look beautiful in the morning. Flattery won't get you anywhere, she muttered, but her cheeks were blushing. Maybe not, but honesty might. They sat down for breakfast together. Amara stirred once, then fell back asleep. Zarya watched Malik closely. He had a way of making ordinary moments feel warm, safe. After breakfast, Malik drove her to one of his favorite places, Laurel Gardens, a private retreat with a scenic view of the city skyline. They sat on a bench beneath the trees, the sun casting soft shadows over them. "I want to show you something," Malik said. He pulled out a small black box from his coat pocket and opened it. Inside was a ring, simple, elegant with a diamond cut like a heart. Zarya's breath hitched. "I know this is fast," he said, "and I know you're scared, but so am I. Still, I want to walk through life with you, step by step." Tears filled her eyes. "I don't want to force anything," he added. "Just hold on to this. When you're ready, you tell me." Zarya reached out and took the box, her hands trembling slightly. "I'll hold it, but no promises." "Fair enough," he said, smiling. "As long as there's a chance." Back at home, Imani squealed when she saw the box. "Girl, if you don't say yes, I will," she teased. Zarya laughed through her tears. He's everything I didn't expect." That night, Zarya sat up in bed holding baby Amara in her arms. She watched her daughter sleep and whispered, "Maybe this is the start of something real." Outside, the stars sparkled over Eastbridge Heights, and inside her heart, a decision had already begun to form. The next few days passed in a blur of soft kisses, small visits, and gentle moments. Malik didn't pressure Zarya. He didn't bring up marriage again. He just showed up, held Amara, helped fold laundry, cooked on nights Imani worked late. Every time Zarya tried to distance herself emotionally, Malik pulled her closer with quiet acts of love. But even as her feelings deepened, doubts lingered. Was he sincere, or was this just a fairy tale that would fall apart once reality hit? It was Friday morning when she finally made her decision. Zarya stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the soft ivory dress she had borrowed from Imani. Her curls were pinned, up her makeup light but glowing. Imani walked in, eyes wide. "Zarya, you look like someone's about to say I do." Zarya smiled faintly. "I am." Imani screamed so loud it woke Amara. Later that day, Malik stood nervously in the living room of the Bennett home, dressed in a deep navy suit with a silver pin on his chest. Zarya's parents had agreed to a small family-only ceremony in their backyard garden. No media, no cameras, no royal fuss. Just love. Malik's parents, King Idris Richmond and Queen Ayana Richmond, arrived quietly, dressed in African formal wear, regal yet understated. They gave respectful nods to Zarya's family. Her father still looked uneasy, but Grace? She already had tears brimming in her eyes. Zarya appeared at the top of the stairs holding a bouquet of sunflowers and baby's breath. Her eyes met Malik's and something bloomed between them. He didn't need to be a prince, she didn't need to be perfect, they just needed each other. The vows were spoken under soft, golden light. "I promise to be your peace when the world gets loud," Malik said, sliding the ring onto her finger. "And I promise to stand with you, even when it storms," Zarya whispered, placing the ring on his. They kissed, and for the first time, Zarya Bennett became Zarya Richmond. That evening, at a quiet reception hosted at a family beach house owned by Malik's uncle Kwame, they danced barefoot under string lights as waves kissed the shore nearby. "Why are you smiling so hard?" Zarya asked Malik as they slow danced with Amara in his arms. "Because this feels like a dream," he murmured. "And I don't ever want to wake up." Zarya leaned her head on his chest. "I didn't think I'd ever be someone's wife." "You weren't supposed to be someone's wife," he whispered. "You were supposed to be mine." She laughed softly, and that moment, surrounded by laughter, ocean air, and soul music playing in the background, was when she finally let herself believe in love again. That night, in their private honeymoon suite overlooking the ocean, Malik carried Zarya inside. "Put me down," she laughed, playfully swatting his arm. "You're my bride. This is required." He grinned, gently setting her on the edge of the bed. He walked into the bathroom while she changed into one of Imani's gifted silk robes. When he returned, he was shirtless, towel slung low around his waist. Zaria's eyes widened. "Can't you put some clothes on?" "Why? I'm married now. I don't need clothes anymore," he teased. "Don't even—" He moved closer, placing a hand behind her neck. "I don't want to rush anything," he said gently. "But I do want you to know. I love you." Zaria froze. No one had said those words to her with that much truth in a long, long time. She touched his face. "I think I love you too." Then, slowly, Malik leaned in and kissed her, not just with heat, but with meaning. His hands explored her like he was learning her all over again. Their bodies spoke a language only they understood, and for the first time it didn't feel rushed or reckless. It felt right. It felt like home. The morning sun spilled through gauzy curtains. A gentle breeze fluttered the edge of the sheets. Zaria lay nestled in Malik's arms, his warmth pressed against her back, his breath steady. Her eyes blinked open. She didn't move. She just lay there, trying to process everything. She was married now, to a man she barely knew, yet somehow she felt like she'd known him her whole life. She glanced down at her hand. The ring shimmered softly in the light. Malik stirred beside her and wrapped his arms tighter around her waist, pressing a soft kiss to the back of her shoulder. "Good morning, Mrs. Richmond." Zaria's lips curved. "You're just trying to hear me say it back." "Maybe." He nuzzled closer. "You're glowing, by the way." "That's just sweat," she teased. He chuckled. "Let me take you somewhere special today. Just us." Zaria turned to face him. "I already left the baby with your mama last night. That woman might never give her back." "She's in grandma heaven," Malik laughed. "Let her enjoy." After breakfast, they returned to the Richmond estate, a stunning modern mansion outside Eastbridge Heights. King Idris and Queen Ayana were already in the sunroom with baby Amara, cooing over her. Ayana looked up. "Zaria, you should know, we adore this baby, and we're learning to adore you too." Zaria smiled shyly. "Thank you, your mages. I mean, ma'am." Ayana waved it off. "Please, just Ayana. We're family now." Idris didn't say much, but his eyes were warm. "You've given our son purpose again," he said simply. Zaria's heart swelled. This family was nothing like she imagined royalty would be. They were human. Later that afternoon, as the newlyweds walked the garden paths outside the estate, Malik's phone buzzed. It was his twin sister, Nia Richmond, a sharply intelligent woman with a blunt mouth and zero filter. Malik answered. "Hey sis, what's up?" "Don't hey sis me," she snapped, "and we need to talk alone." "Why?" "Because Zaria looks just like Ari." Malik froze. Zaria raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" He hung up quickly. "Nothing, just Nia being dramatic." But the conversation echoed in his head. Ari, his ex, his heartbreak. Zaria didn't know. That evening, after dinner, Zaria went to the nursery to check on Amara. She found Ayana singing a soft lullaby while rocking the baby. "She's out cold," Ayana whispered. "Why don't you two take some time together? The stars are beautiful tonight." Zaria thanked her, then joined Malik on the balcony. The view stretched all the way to the city skyline. She leaned against the railing, arms folded. "You've been quiet," he said. "I'm just thinking about us, everything. How fast this all happened." Malik nodded slowly. "Want to hear something crazy?" "What?" "I think I loved you before I ever knew your name." Zaria looked at him sideways. "You sound like a movie line." He smiled. "Maybe, but it's how I feel." She paused. "Tell me about her." Malik blinked. "What?" "Ari. Your sister called. She was upset. Said I look like someone named Ari." His jaw clenched. "You heard that?" "I wasn't snooping, I just..." Heard enough. There was a long silence. Then Malik spoke. Ari was my first love. Back home. We were supposed to get married, but she left me for my cousin. Broke me in ways I didn't think were possible. Zaria's throat tightened. So, that's why you came here? He nodded. I ran away from everything, my title, my pain, my responsibilities. And now you're back in all of it with me because I remind you of her? No, he said firmly. You don't remind me of her, you look like her. But your spirit, your fire, your soul, that's all you. Zaria stared into his eyes. I don't want to be someone's second chance, she whispered. You're not, Malik said. You're my only one. She stepped into his arms. If you ever compare me to her again, I'll bury you. He smiled, pulling her close. Fair deal. Later that night, Zaria lay beside Malik in their suite, staring up at the ceiling. She was still thinking about Ari, not out of jealousy, but out of fear. Fear that she might always be a shadow of someone else's memory. Malik, sensing her tension, reached for her hand. Want me to tell you how I know it's real this time? Zaria turned her head toward him but said nothing. I was empty after Ari. Couldn't even feel the sun. I went through women like they were distractions, but nothing. Stuck. Nothing mattered, he said. But then I met you. He looked at her like she was the only thing that ever made sense. I didn't even know your name, Zaria. But that night, something changed in me. You didn't just touch me. You shifted me. Zaria swallowed, heart pounding. I didn't marry you because I felt guilty, he added. I married you because I didn't want to lose you. I didn't want to wonder for the rest of my life if that spark could have been a flame. She moved closer, resting her head on his chest. I just needed to hear that. His hand ran through her curls. I'll remind you every day if I have to. 2 years later, the Richmonds were no longer just a headline in quiet royal tabloids. They were a real family. Malik had transitioned into fatherhood with more grace than anyone expected. He still handled business during the week, but his favorite role was Baba Malik, as Amara now called him. Zaria had opened her own interior design firm with Imani. She worked from a cozy home office in their Eastbridge Heights house, juggling meetings, feedings, and the occasional toddler tantrum. There, life was full of love, laughter, and yes, plenty of late-night diaper changes. But the most magical time of the year? Christmas at the Richmond Palace in Sundara. It became a tradition. Zaria's parents had gotten over their royal nerves and now looked forward to the trip like kids waiting for Santa. Even Terence, who once threatened to fight Malik, had warmed, up to the idea of calling a prince his brother-in-law. That year, the palace was decorated with thousands of warm golden lights, Afro-modern ornaments, and a massive Kenta-themed Christmas tree. Zaria arrived in a white and gold wrap dress holding Amara in her arms. Queen Ayana practically ran to them. My grandbaby. You've grown so big. King Idris scooped up Amara, making silly faces. You still remember Grandbaba? She giggled and nodded. Zaria smiled, her heart full. She wasn't just accepted into this royal family now. She belonged. Over dinner, Naya leaned toward Malik. So, when were you planning to tell me about baby number 2? Malik nearly choked on his wine. What? Zaria's eyes widened. Nia, you said you wouldn't say anything. The entire room went silent. Zaria slowly pulled a small velvet box from under the table and handed it to Malik. He opened it. Inside was a tiny onesie, embroidered with the words, "Promoted to Big Sister, coming soon." A round of gasps erupted. Malik blinked. You mean? Zaria nodded, tears in her eyes. We're pregnant again. Malik stood, picked her up in his arms and spun her around. You just made me the happiest man alive. Again. Ayana cried openly. Idris cleared his throat, pretending not to wipe his eyes. Even Nia smiled and muttered, Okay, she might actually be the one. That night, as they lay in bed, Malik kissed Zaria's belly gently. I still can't believe this is my life, Zarya whispered. You gave it to me, and I gave it back. The days that followed were filled with joy. Zarya and Malik spent Christmas morning in matching silk pajamas, watching Amara rip wrapping paper while the family gathered around in laughter. Malik's mother, Queen Ayana, gifted Zarya a gold heirloom bracelet passed down from the queens of Sundara for generations. This belongs to you now, she said. Not because you married into this family, but because you've become its heart. Zarya was speechless. Even King Idris, once distant and skeptical, now walked around carrying Amara on his shoulders, completely smitten. Zarya's parents, Alexander and Grace, sat at the royal dinner table like they had been born into it. Terence shamelessly flirted with Nia Richmond, though she rolled her eyes and called him rookie. On New Year's Eve, the family gathered under a massive open terrace overlooking the Sundaran Sea. The stars were out. The food was rich. Afro beats floated through the air. Malik stood, tapped his glass, and called everyone's attention. I just want to say thank you, he began. To my family, my queen, my daughter, and to this life I never saw coming but now can't live without. He turned to Zarya. You saved me, not with a crown, not with a name, just with your heart. She tried to hold back tears. Failed. He stepped closer. And because I can't stop loving you, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a smaller box. Everyone gasped again. Zarya blinked. What are you doing? He opened the box to reveal a new ring. This one, a symbol not of responsibility, but of renewed choice. I want to marry you again. This time not because we had to, but because I choose you. Zarya laughed through tears and nodded. Yes. Always yes. 6 months later, baby Nova Ayana Richmond and her twin sister Zola Grace Richmond were born, healthy and beautiful. Zarya cried as she held both girls on her chest, with Malik standing beside her, speechless for the first time in his life. Their home in Eastbridge Heights now echoed with more tiny feet, more laughter, more life. The woman who once walked alone from a hotel room, heartbroken and lost, now walked, daily as a wife, a mother of 3, and a queen in her own right. And when Zarya looked back on that one night, the night she gave herself to a stranger with blurred eyes and a heavy heart, she no longer saw it as shame. She saw it as fate's wild twist, a beginning, not a mistake, a moment that led to her forever.